Inspired by our own recent social media break on holiday, we wanted to shine a light on the issues around excessive social media use. In this episode, we highlight some of the disturbing stats around social media usage, the impact on well-being and relationships, and give you some tips on reclaiming control.
With AR and AI already here, this is a huge problem that has potential to get worse if we don't take responsibility for our own actions and set an example for others. We hope you enjoy this episode and feel inspired to take back ownership of your own social media addiction.
Hi, I'm James Davis.
And I'm Claire Davis.
We're the Midlife Mentors, here to lift the lid on how to achieve health and happiness.
The balanced, no-nonsense way.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Midlife Mentors with me, James.
And me, Claire. How are you all? I hope you're well. We had some really lovely feedback from our values podcast last week, so thank you for that. And we've had a few more reviews on the podcast platforms, so thank you again for those.
Yeah, if you haven't reviewed us yet or rated us, they're two different things. You can rate us really easy. You just have to go and literally click the 5 stars, make sure it is a 5 stars. And with a review, obviously you have to write a few words as well, but we'd appreciate either or both of those. It does help other people discover us.
It does. It really, really does. And, you know, we have been approached. We still get approached for sponsorship on this podcast. But honestly, one of our pet hates is listening to podcasts where they're interrupted by adverts, basically, for products that feel a bit icky. So we don't want to do that to you. We just don't want to do that. We don't want to interrupt your amazing listening experience. So the fee for listening is basically to rate us and share the show. Subscribe, share the show, share with your friends, get it out there, because we know it helps so many of you.
Indeed, yeah. Today we're going to be talking about kind of one of the learnings from our holiday, right? Our break was really lovely. If you've been following our posts, you'll know that. But one of the big learnings was about leaving social media behind. So we're going to dive into basically some quite scary stats around social media, and then some tips on how you could help break your social media habits. That's what we're going to be talking about today. I was thinking, what have we been up to, Claire? It's been a funny time since we got back from our holidays.
It has. We took about 5, 6, probably actually a whole week to get revved up and into normality again. And yeah, I just think we've taken on some lovely people on the Midlife Methods, our 8-week.
Great group we've got running at the moment.
It's absolutely amazing. People are really smashing it. They're getting amazing results. They are focused on their food. They're changing their eating habits. They are shedding some pounds, which is great. But most of all, they're really connecting with each other. We're having some really wonderful group coaching calls with our team at the moment that have joined the Midlife Methods, and it's not about us, it's about those people connecting with each other and sharing their experiences, because oftentimes we can feel, especially at midlife, you know, we can feel very isolated, very alone, like we're the only ones going through certain issues and certain problems. But I think when we get together on those calls, it's so apparent that we're all experiencing very similar things in our own different ways, and people give advice to each other. People connect. That sense of community and accountability is so powerful. I mean, it's the missing secret sauce to everything, is having that group and that experience of being accountable and motivated by people. So yeah, really loving that. I've taken that on. We're actually going to take a break from taking anyone on for the Midlife Method. We normally take a cohort every month, but we are taking a break until September because we're working on different things. And it kind of has led from James and I wanting to go on holiday and have a complete break from the craziness of running a business, right? It is not all sunshines and roses. Anyone listening out there that runs their own business, is an entrepreneur, will know that actually it's very, very, very hard to switch off. In fact, it's near on impossible. It's our baby, and it's something that needs to, and we want to keep feeding constantly, but at the same time, there is a limit to which you can do that without burning yourself out. And I think James and I got to the point where we realised we needed to step back. We needed to reevaluate. There is so much more within us and to come. and so many amazing opportunities, but we're not even giving them space because we're so busy looking over in a certain direction that we haven't given those creative space to form. So that's kind of why we're taking a break from taking anyone else on from the Midlife Method. I'm still doing one-to-one stuff, so is James. But that's also what instigated the holiday was, look, we need to down tools. We need to actually create some space for peace to land. And from that place, peace and joy can actually help you realise what the next move is and really feel into what the next move is, because most of us don't feel anymore. We're just on autopilot, going, and social media is such a huge part of this. It really is such a huge part of why we feel like we can never switch off.
Well, it definitely is. I mean, it's so pervasive in our lives now. We lead, I think most of us will lead precious lives anyway, right? Claire and I actually was talking the other day about something called Groundhog Day syndrome, which is actually a real syndrome now, where we just like, our brain goes into autopilot almost, like every day does kind of become the same. Okay, the tasks might vary in the day, but we're so used to it, and then we can get into a boredom place, so then we'll look for outside stimulation. And I guess the trick is finding the balance between having a routine that works for you and helps you get to results and give you that sense of perceived security or certainty in your head, but also having the freedom to experience new things, do new things, to live outside of that routine as well. So that's, I think, where we're driving to now. And social media definitely plays a part in that. I think for us, we feel we have to be active on social media for our business. And we've actually, since the holiday, spending less time on it when not posting. But I'm sure for a lot of people listening, you do spend a lot of time just consuming on there as well as posting updates about your life. I think it'd be really helpful to talk about some of the stats out there and then what you can do to help get a handle on it.
Yeah, before we go into that though, I think just like James saying about Groundhog Day, a lot of the time we find, and this will be revealed in the stats, we use it as a distraction, right? Because we are a bit bored. We are bored in our life. So we use it as escapism. We use it as a way to escape our feelings, escape the boredom, and obviously this leads to such feelings of comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy. We are constantly seeing everyone's highlight reels about what they're doing, and none of that is true because it's their highlight reels. Everyone is struggling. Everyone has got stuff going on in their lives, but we're comparing our normal life to everyone else's highlight reels, and it's just such a disconnection from what's actually going on in people's real world. And I do think this Groundhog Day thing that James talked about, it is a way of escaping what we're not doing in our life, living precariously through other people, and it really creates such a huge amount of social problems, mental health problems, physical health problems. So social media is something that when we went on holiday, we were like, we've set up some posts. James set some of his posts up. I set some of my posts up, like scheduled them. And we just came off social media completely. And the difference it made to how I felt, how I connected with James, how much joy and peace I had in my life. Yes, I was on holiday. Of course, that's part of it, having a nice beach and things like that. But actually just staying off social media, seeing what everyone else is doing, feeling this pressure to post, feeling this pressure to turn up as your best self, and all of these sorts of things. We decided that we were both going to commit to not going on it at all, and that was hard because you feel like there's FOMO, you feel like you're missing out, you feel like you're not doing your job properly.
This is why it is so pervasive, right? Because as human beings, we're essentially, as a species, addicted to dopamine, which is our feel-good transmitter. So anything that gives us a little dopamine hit, we're like, oh, I like that, I want more of it. And social media is specifically designed to give us that dopamine hit. And the best analogy I can give for your phone is like you're a snail and the phone is your shell. And what I mean by that is you can retreat into it. So if you ever watch, well, even in yourself, have you ever had times when you're feeling maybe a bit anxious or a bit nervous or a bit uncertain? What do? I bet you pick up your phone and go into your phone. You've actually, psychologically and emotionally, you've gone back into your shell. You've gone into your safe world. And you see this when people are having dinner. On holiday, obviously, we're observing people at dinner. You see couples or even families, and they're all on their phones. It's amazing. Next time you're at a meal and someone picks up their phone, don't say anything to them. Just watch, because actually at the point they've done that, they have gone in their shell. They have emotionally and psychologically withdrawn from that table. Right? They've gone into their own world with what's happening inside their phone on their shell. So it's really fascinating. I think we need to have an appreciation of what it's doing and how it's impacting us.
Yeah, and it's making us all disconnected from reality. It's making us all disconnected from each other. And it's making us less able to feel the feels. It's making us less able to actually feel who we are. We've forgotten, because of this device, we've kind of forgotten who we are. We don't remember the bliss in the small things, and the small little things where, going for a walk, paddling in the sea, just reading a book, on your sofa. All these small things that bring us joy, that I'd even forgotten bring me joy, because we're so consumed with social media. It's really, really, it worries me. I'll be really, really honest. It really disturbs me, and it really worries me.
Just wait till augmented reality and AI meet social media, and that is already here. We saw Apple's new goggles, which will allow you to be in an augmented and virtual world together and interact with things in your space, both non-real things and real things. And we can see the time already, like remember dopamine addicted, where it'll be actually more attractive to spend time in your augmented or virtual world interacting with an AI than it perhaps will be to be in real life.
And
so
there's a lot of you that will listen to this and have children, and I mean that is the terrifying thing. I'll be really blunt and really honest. I oftentimes think I am pleased that I haven't got a child, to be honest, because I'd just be terrified. I mean, all you parents out there, I do have these conversations with our clients at points. All the parents out there, it must be really, really scary for you and terrifying for you and upsetting for you to actually see your child go into its shell, like James has just said, and separate itself from reality and all the bullying that goes on, all of this stuff on social media. It must be really scary for you. And to be honest, sometimes I think, my goodness, I'm glad that I don't have that worry, because I would just be worried sick all the time, constantly worried sick. But it is also our opportunity to model good behaviour. When it comes to social media. So if we're sitting on our phones, if we're at a supper and we're not connecting with our children, we're on our phones as well, what kind of signal is that giving to our children? We are in a position, responsible parents, responsible adults, to model healthy behaviour when it comes to social media. So, and you are able to set those boundaries. And people that say, oh, I'm just letting my children because everyone else at school has got their iPhones, these phones. You know what? I'm sorry, but that's just an excuse. I feel that is laziness, because actually what you're not doing is thinking of the long-term consequences. Yes, they might be missing out a little bit on screen time, and their friends might have something to say about that. But what's the long-term implications of you not bringing up a rounded child that knows how to communicate in the normal world, that knows how to connect with human beings, not just on their iPhone? So we can model good behaviour. We can express what is the normal world. I mean, this has become normal right now, but we remember a world. Us Gen Xers,
analog world.
We remember a world before all of this, so it's our job. We have a moral compass and a moral guidance to show people what life can be like without being ruled by social media.
I hope this is resonating with you. Listen, we're going to come on to some tips and guidance for how you can help break your habit or at least decrease it. But let's just touch on some stats here. So here are some current stats. Currently, around 56.8% of the world's population is active on social media. That means by 2025, 4.41 billion people globally are going to be on social media. Already, over 210 million people suffer from social media addiction.
And there's some more stats here. The average person has, I'm shocked by this, the average person has 8 to 9 social media accounts. This has doubled since 2013, when the average person had 4 to 5 accounts. I didn't even have that many accounts back in 2013.
Time to reactivate my MySpace.
Yeah, MySpace. The average person spends 144 minutes a day using social media, which converts into 72 hours a month. 72 hours. Again, what can we be doing with this time? This is what terrifies me. Our lack of focus as well. Like, we know that social media has really affected. Apparently, we've got less focus and a concentration than a goldfish now, because we're just constantly thinking from one thing to another. But 72 hours a month gone like that. 5.7 years of your life just spent on social media, and that's going to grow, right? That's the average. You might be over that average, so that's years of your life that you have spent looking at a screen. Social media, this is fascinating. So social media disagreements between couples account for 1 in every 3 divorces. How nuts is that? Facebook's addiction statistics reveal this platform is involved in the vast majority of such marital disputes. 1 in 3 of which end in divorce. In fact, divorce attorneys no longer shy away from using networking sites to derive data, which is then used as evidence. Quelle surprise there, quelle surprise.
67% of US adults believe that social media consumption is directly related to feelings of social isolation and loneliness. Here's the irony. It's a platform that's about... It's called social, right? Social media, but it's actually making people feel more isolated and more alone. And 38% believe it impacts mental health in a negative way. Here's a shocker. 67% of smartphone owners check their phones for notifications, even when there aren't any. I mean, how many have we done that? Do you see people just picking up their phones, have a look? Like, is there a notification yet? This is looking for that dopamine trigger.
Have I got any likes?
Yeah. And that is a sign that you do have an addiction, by the way. And here's the thing. Social media addiction is linked to higher levels of anxiety, depression, and lowered sleep quality.
Checking social media while driving happens to 55% of drivers. We are so addicted. We are looking at our social media. I do not do
that. That can literally kill you.
That could literally kill you and other people.
Yeah.
A study found that 25% of participants admitted using social media to escape reality. So there was a study. 25% of those people admitted that they use it to escape reality. And social media addiction is associated with reduced self-control. So we have less control over ourselves. I tell you why, because the dopamine, you can't keep feeding the dopamine. So you've got less control over your dopamine hit because you're getting it so frequently. And guess what? The more you hit that dopamine, the more it needs. So you've got less self-control and more impulsivity, again, related to the dopamine hit because you're constantly wanting it. You're so used to getting it that you can't control it and you're impulsive with it.
Which can then spill over into real life, of course, with other habits that you don't want.
Yes, exactly. So let's talk about food. If you're constantly dealing with that dopamine, no wonder, we've got also such an obesity epidemic because this relates to social media as well. You're constantly hitting your dopamine. You're constantly getting fed with that. So when you can't have that, you're looking for another source. How else can I get my dopamine hits and feel good about myself?
Yeah. So no surprise then that there are studies out there that have shown a negative correlation between excessive social media use and overall well-being. You literally are degrading your well-being with excessive social media use.
And aging yourself,
It reduces life satisfaction, happiness, and decline in overall mental health.
Aging our brain.
Aging your brain.
Aging our brain as well, right? So we have got
some tips.
Some scary little statistics there, but we've got some, obviously, because this is the Midlife Mentors podcast, we always end with tips.
We do. If that you're going, oh no, like I need to cut back, I need to cut down. Well, here you go. Here are your tips.
Firstly, recognise and acknowledge that we all have an addiction, right? By the way, all of us do. We're not immune to this. You're not alone. There's nothing wrong with you. We're not doing this to make you feel bad. We all have. Why did James and I say, let's go on holiday and not have social media? Because we became addicted to it. The first step is to acknowledge that we have that addiction and understand the negative impacts this has on your life. And hopefully, even with this podcast, recognising this problem will motivate you to take action because it's not just about you, it's about society as a whole. So, the first one, number 1, is set clear goals and boundaries for yourself. So, define your goals and priorities outside of social media. What is your life purpose? What is your life passion? What are your goals? What are your priorities? What are your values? If you haven't listened to our values podcast, go and listen to that from last week. And establish specific boundaries for that, such as limiting the time you spend on social media each day, or designating certain times or places where you will not use social media at all, like at dinner. Let's not do that. We were in the most gorgeous restaurant in Formentera, like the most stunning restaurant, and a couple, it was beautiful, and the couple were just on their phone. They weren't even looking around them. They were just sat there looking down at their phones. It's actually devastating. So that's it. Like, get clear on your boundaries, get clear on your goals outside of social media, and then you're going to feel more fulfilled and on purpose in other areas of your life. Don't use it as an escape.
Then, here's another thing about controlling it. Create a schedule and stick to it. So plan your social media usage. So you can either schedule posts like we did when we went on holiday. And there are people that do this. They'll have one day a month they sit down and create all their posts a month and schedule them to go out so they never have to do it again for the rest of the month.
I found that amazing.
Yeah, or, you can just give yourself a schedule like, I'll only look at it at this time for X number of minutes, and you just don't go on it apart from that.
Remove triggers and temptations. So identify those triggers that lead to excessive social media use, such as certain apps or certain notifications. And, have the self-control. This is in your hands. We can't come over there and take your phone off and do all this for you. This is in your responsibility because of the things that we've just said. Disable unnecessary notifications. Remove certain social media apps from your phone. You can use app blocking tools to limit access during specific periods. We're going to give you a couple of examples of that later on. But, this is about knowing what your triggers are, becoming aware of what those triggers are, and removing the temptation. But only you can do that.
Exactly. Oh, I love this one. Find alternate activities. So, right, actually, if you're truly present in your life and enjoying the moment, you won't want to look at your phone at all. Like on holiday, like you're just there in the moment. You don't want to look at your phone. We look at it because we're feeling bored, we're feeling unfulfilled. We're looking for something just to fill our time. So get more positive stuff going in your life. Get hobbies, get out, do stuff, see friends, do things that bring you joy and fulfillment outside of the digital realm.
Yeah, love that. Practice mindfulness and self-awareness. This is number 5. Become super, super aware of when you are grabbing your phone. Like, what are the emotions you're experiencing? What are you trying to avoid? What are you trying to get rid of? What are you trying to experience? What's just happened to make you reach for your mobile phone yet again? Because we cannot change what we're not aware of. Awareness precedes change. And that's half the battle. You will start noticing. It's so enlightening and so empowering to start thinking, oh my goodness, I was just feeling really anxious then, I've just picked up my phone. I was feeling really angry then, I've just picked up my phone. And also become aware of the feelings you get once you've been on your mobile phone. You are going to get feelings of inadequacy. You are going to get feelings of resentment. You're going to get feelings of comparison. Why are we doing this to ourselves? We are in control of this. So look at why you felt like that in the first place to pick up your phone, what was going on, and then how you felt afterwards. Did it even help? Did it? Did it even help?
And lastly, if you're still struggling, seek support. Now, you could do this yourself by using apps to limit your access. We're going to talk to you about that in a second. Or you could reach out to support groups. There are now social media addiction groups, professionals out there that can help you get a handle on this. So if you are struggling with it, do get support. But here's the first way you can start. The easiest way is to start using apps that will either block or control your usage. We're going to give you a handful here. The first 3, App Block, Freedom, and Opal, basically all work in the same way. They will block certain apps, and some of them can block the internet. They can block specific search terms. You can set when they'll give you access again. So that's a way of establishing control that over your phone that you can't get in to use those apps.
Yeah, I just need to say this. There's I don't know why this has just popped into my head, but there's some celebrities now that are going back to the basic phone, aren't there? Like, people no longer are using smartphones. These are like the multi-millionaires in our world.
I read an interview with an author recently, and when he goes to write, he only takes a really old Nokia that's got it can't do anything on it.
You can just type on it.
So he's not distracted.
But this is the way.
And his laptop has everything blocked off it apart from word processing. And
this is the way that I think it's a lot of people in tech, actually. So a lot of people in tech are only giving their children their phones. Yes, they might need a phone for security reasons. They might need a phone to make sure that they keep them safe. But they're not giving them smartphones with all these different apps on. And actually, these wealthy people are realising what a distraction their phone is. So they're going back to basics, like the Nokia. I just wanted to share that, actually, because I just thought, well, if they know something that we don't, because they're all in tech, they know how bad this is. It's been produced to be addictive. And then the last app that we're going to talk to you about is Moment. So this has been going for a while, actually. Moment tracks the time you spend on your phone and provides insights into your app usage. And it allows you to set daily limits for social media, apps, and sends reminders when you've exceeded the time. It also offers features like family mode to manage screen time for your entire family, so you can keep a bit of control and a lid on it for them. So that's it. That's it on this one.
That's social media, and that was inspired by us taking a complete break from it on a holiday. I would suggest that when you don't need it for work or something, why don't you just plan a week where you're without social media and see how you get on and how you feel?
And following on from that, if you feel like you need a break to reconnect with yourself, to reconnect with what's important, to experience joy, to experience health, to prioritise this time for you rather than just being constantly on, a time that you can put your phone down, stop the email, put away social media, then you're in luck, because we are running 2 retreats actually this year. And we are doing our first one in the UK, which is in September. And I'm going to ask James what the date is now, because I have completely... But the link for our retreat, our UK retreat, will be in the show notes. And if you're on our email list, you go to our website as well. If you're on our email list, it'll all be on there as well. But we've got one in the UK, and that's a couple of nights. So it won't take up too much time out of your busy schedule, but just enough time to reconnect with yourself and what's important. Those get really booked up because it's UK based. And then the Ibiza retreat, there's only 8 spaces on that, by the way. And then the Ibiza retreat at the luxury Six Senses Hotel, a resort, is in October. And that is getting booked up as well. So there's your opportunity. There's your opportunity to do what we just did.
Come away with us.
Come away with us and experience all of the stuff that we talk about. You know, our 6 pillars basically to midlife health and happiness. We'll be diving into all of that, and you'll get such personal time with us. They are life transforming. They really, really are. People have come away and always say that they are completely life transforming, body, mind, and soul. So we'd love to see you on those. I'll put the links to the UK one and the Ibiza one in the show notes. And yeah, we are sending you so much love.
We are. See you next
Big
time.
hugs. Bye.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the Midlife Mentors with Claire and James Davis.
We'd love to hear from you. So drop us a line at info@themidlifementors.com with any questions or topic suggestions.
And make sure you join us on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. You can find us under the Midlife Mentors.
Yeah.